So in this video I'm going to talk about the Bastillion server, which we use for managing the SSH keys on the machines in the Adoptium build and test farm. The infrastructure team all have accounts on the Bastillion server, and that allows them to log in with their username and password and manage their own SSH keys. So if they need to replace their key with a new one, they can do that themselves through the self-service interface. In this particular case, the screen that I'm showing here is logged in as the administrative user, so I get far more options than a normal user would get by logging in. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to give a demonstration of adding a new machine into the Bastillion service. You can see that there's all the options for systems, profiles and users. They're all replicated in the top menu here as well. You can also disable particular SSH keys temporarily if required. If they've been found out to be compromised or anything like that, the user doesn't have to log in to remove it. That can be done administratively. So for the purposes of adding a new system, we go into the systems panel, add a new system. The machine name here is test Maris Ubuntu 22.04/1 to follow the same naming convention that we use for most of the other systems. The Bastillion server, we've normally got two separate system definitions for each machine. One is to control the root access to the root account, and the second one is for controlling access to the Jenkins account. This is a brand new machine which we haven't had playbooks run on it yet, so I'm only going to add the root user for now, and then later on we'll give it access to the Jenkins user as well once that Jenkins user is in place on the machine. The host is, it can be a host name or IP address. We typically just add in the IP address here, which is that one. Port usually 22, obviously for the SSH port, and but it can be different on some of our providers, and the authorized keys file, which is fairly standard location. I don't think I've ever had to modify that on any of the systems that we have. So if I submit that, it will then appear on the list. If I just quickly search for it, there it's now at the bottom, the root user on that, and success means that the Bastillion server was able to connect to it. The only prerequisite before you add a machine is that you need to have put the Bastillion public SSH key onto the server so that it can connect in as that user. And obviously I've done that before this demonstration started. So that means that Bastillion can now connect to the machine, but we haven't told it what keys to deploy onto the machine. Now if we go back to the Manage menu, we have the concept of profiles, and the profiles effectively link a group of users to a group of systems. So you can see that up here we have the Jenkins profile, and that's the one that allows users to log in as the Jenkins user. We might allow people to do that but not log in as root, for example, so we have the different system profiles for Jenkins and root. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to add all the users, all the infrastructure team who have root access to be able to log into this new machine that I've just added. So all the users are already in the root group. So what I need to do is to assign a system. If I search down here, this is a new system that I have, and I'm going to click the checkbox on that and assign it. So that means that that system is now in the root group. So all of the infrastructure, so Bastillion in the background will go onto that machine's root account and add in all the SSH keys from the infrastructure team. And that's pretty much as simple as it is. The only other thing that's possibly worth looking at while I'm doing this video is the terminals thing. So as it says there, it can execute multiple simultaneous web terminals on selected systems. So for example, I could take that Red Hat machine, this Ubuntu machine, I'll add an AIX machine in just for fun as well, create terminals. It'll take a second to load it, and so here we are. And at this point, if I just squash that down a bit, you'll see all the windows there, and I will do clear to do that. Now just to, as an example, I could do cat etc star release, which will show on the Linux systems normally a bit of information about which version of the operating system it is. On AIX it won't work, the one in the bottom left, because that file does not exist. So that just shows that you can use Bastillion to log into all the machines simultaneously if there's something you had to do across all of them, or one of the profiles. So I'll just exit out of there now. As you can see from this, you can also filter by the profiles as well that we spoke about earlier. So that is pretty much it. That's an overview of the Bastillion server, which we use for the Adoptium project. Thanks for listening.